and the chaos was pouring out. We watched our city's windows being boarded up.
Under that wide open Arkansas sky.
Hey everyone, welcome to It's All Grady. I'm Denise.
And I'm Marcel.
Welcome to our homestead.
Yeah, welcome to our homestead. If you don't already know, we're a couple that gave up our city life for a homestead in rural America.
So previously on It's All Grady.
Yeah, if you don't already know, in our last video, guys, we put up the last section of our scaffolding that is required for us to continue the other side of the roof. All right.
Today is another rainy day here on the homestead. So we decided to share something personal with you guys.
This is not going to be easy for us to talk about.
Marcel and I started with very little. We built everything together.
In the early years, we worked long hours, sometimes so long we barely saw each other. The business needed all of us. And by the end of the week, we were running on fumes.
But when we did have a break, we were gone.
Fishing trips in Colorado mountains. Drives through the western slope. Little towns where strangers still smiled and took the time to talk.
Those quiet places, those moments of stillness, they felt like us.
We planned every free minute around getting back to peace. No parties, no city life, just time together, out where the air didn't feel so heavy.
Back in Denver, our business grew fast.
$250,000 a year. A remodeled home. Everything people think you're supposed to want.
But all that success came at a cost.
The stress never let up. The pressure never stopped. And even with everything we had, we felt like we were always running.
Running to catch our breath.
Running from the noise.
Running toward a life that we've only seen in glimpses.
And somewhere in those mountains, and all the escapes from the city and the noise, we fell in love with a different kind of life.
And before Gage came to live with us, Marcel and I used to take trips online.
We'd hop on YouTube together and we would explore places that we couldn't reach yet.
Tiny cabins in the woods, simple off-grid lives.
People who raised their own food.
We knew painting wasn't our forever.
But it was a stepping stone. But what came next? We didn't know yet.
We started dreaming more seriously.
Wondering what kind of life we could both see ourselves doing.
Something slower, something real.
We explored everything from nomading to truck driving. It was the wanderlust lifestyle that looked fun in theory. But in our heart, it wasn't enough.
Then we found homesteading and something just clicked.
The simplicity, the connection, the land, the rhythm of rural life. It didn't feel like fantasy, it felt like finally. One that didn't exist in the city, one we knew we'd have to build with our own hands.
By the time Gage came to live with us full-time, our perspectives had started to shift. It wasn't just about us anymore. It was about the world he'd grow up in.
And what we were passing down.
We started questioning everything.
Is this environment right for our son? Is it right for us?
And all around us, the city was changing.
The neighborhoods we used to love were getting louder, harder, meaner. Places we used to feel safe suddenly didn't feel like home at all. The crime, the chaos, the constant pressure to keep up. And the truth is, even with how well the business was doing, we couldn't afford to stay. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. The cost of staying was becoming much higher than the cost of leaving.
We started to feel unwelcome, like we didn't belong in the place that we once worked so hard to grow.
That's when we knew this wasn't just discomfort. It wasn't a phase. It was something much deeper.
We weren't just dreaming of change anymore. We were preparing to leave.
It's hard to explain the moment when a dream becomes a decision.
But we felt it.
And once we did, there was no turning back.
Between 2016 and 2021, everything started shifting. And then 2020 hit.
It felt like the world had cracked open and the chaos was pouring out. There were protests on the news every night. We watched our city's windows being boarded up over and over. Businesses we knew were closing. Streets we used to walk felt tense, unfamiliar. Then came the shutdowns, the fear, the isolation. People turning on each other. Trust was thin. Tension was everywhere.
Crime was no longer something we heard about from a distance. And so much of it was treated like background noise, acceptable, normalized.
And we no longer felt welcome.
We watched things we couldn't unsee.
Our beautiful city was becoming some place that we didn't even recognize.
And more than that, we realized we didn't belong in it anymore.
We were preparing to leave, not in panic, but with purpose. And so we started letting go. Quietly at first, getting rid of the things that we didn't really need, selling tools. We even had to give up jobs, even when it hurt.
We were building a different kind of momentum.
Not towards more work, but towards more life.
We didn't shout it from the rooftops. We just packed and prayed and trusted that if we kept moving toward peace, that we would find it.
At first, we had hoped that we would move to the western slope, closer to family, and those peaceful towns that we had grown to love.
But the rising cost of property
and the constant bidding wars made this dream nearly impossible.
It felt like the door was closing before we could even step through it.
So we decided, let's start looking beyond Colorado, other states, and new possibilities.
Somewhere where we could afford land and start fresh.
That search wasn't easy. We'd find a property, start to imagine our lives there, and within days that property would be gone.
Everywhere we looked, it felt like the dream was just out of reach.
But with each option we explored, one thing became clear.
We weren't just looking for a place, we were searching for a way out.
A way forward, a life that made sense to us.
And the longer we stayed, the more obvious it became to us.
Staying was starting to cost more than leaving ever could.
We weren't leaving out of fear.
We were leaving because peace was something we could no longer borrow on weekend trips.
We needed it to be the way we lived.
And this wasn't a sudden decision. We had spent years quietly planning this, running through possibilities, trying to figure out what route we would take when the time finally came.
We'd lie awake at night and ask ourselves, what if we really did it?
What if we walked away from our house, from our business, from everything we thought we were supposed to want?
We didn't know where we'd end up, but we knew where we couldn't stay.
Denver was where we met. It's where we fell in love. It was the place where we started to build our life together.
It was our home.
But over time, that home stopped feeling like a foundation and started feeling more like a weight.
And letting go of it might have been the hardest part of all.
We didn't leave Denver in a rush. We left with reverence, with reflection, with gratitude for all that it gave us, and the clarity that it was time to go.
Denver helped us build our first dream.
It gave us the tools, the lessons, the strength, and even the heartache we needed to step into the next one.
The road ahead of us was uncertain.
But for the first time in years, it felt like hours.
We were finally ready to trade everything we knew for everything that we were meant to find.
In the next part of our story, guys, we're going to share with you how we finally found the land that we call home and what it took to get here.
If you ever feel like the life that you're living isn't the one that you want,
Then follow us on this journey because we're in this together.
we look forward to bringing you more content like this to be a little bit more personal with you.
All right, guys, we are really excited to share this with you, and we're planning to share more of this story with you guys. We just get jazzed up. The rain isn't always bad. It brought us in, it slowed us down, and it's opening us up to you. You know, a storm just wouldn't be complete without well issues. So we've had a banger going on pretty much for the last couple of days. And just moments ago, Denise was inquiring on why is our water not working. And I was like, oh no, maybe we got a broken hose. Turns out it's not a broken hose, guys. I'm not exactly sure what it is at this time. We have zero water, it appears. Zero water pressure. So that being said, guys, we're gonna have to go investigate this, see if we can't identify where the problem is coming from. It is not a leaky hose. It is something else.
I guess we're going to continue on the theme from the other day of what can go wrong, you know? Good Lord. All right, this is not a clear path. All right, you guys, we got to figure out what is going on with the water. I went to use it in the camper and there was no pressure. So that indicates a huge problem. One thing is we have our well down on our lower 5, which is also hooked to a separate utility than the house up above. Yeah. So we don't always notice when the water is having issues unless we're using it. The hose is empty.
That's bad news too.
That means it's lower down.
Well, that means that it stopped while I was doing laundry. Okay, as it is right now, we are stuck on wash and there's no water, but there is power. So that means it's not like we don't have power to this pole down here. Yeah, all right, guys. So the first thing I did when there was an indication that we were having water problems was I went and checked for a leaky hose. There was no leaky hose, guys. We didn't have pressure anywhere. I shut the hose off down here just in case, do a process of elimination. We are not having issues because of a leaky hose. I just checked the laundry room. That's the next step. Do we have power in there? Did the washer shut off? Yes, it did. The washer's on, but it didn't complete its process because there's just no water. So next we're going to come down and check the panel that we just did work on, guys, because we just did work on this. Yeah? But all we added was a surge protector. So it's really hard to tell, but both of them green lights are still on. That means at this point, there's still power to the breaker as well. Yeah? Bama-lama, baby. They are both still on. There's power coming in, I think. Is that what it usually looks like when power's coming in? Does it blink like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like we're okay to there. Let's go to the next panel.
My fear is it's going to be up where the well is, which indicates bigger problems.
Yeah. So we also looking for like power line issues. Sometimes there can be a surge, which will in the end affect electrical components. We did install the whole home surge protector, but if something happened past that pole, because we have a panel here as well, or even closer yet. Guys, one thing I've learned about these panels is everything from the pole to the back of the panel, the breakers don't do nothing for. It's from in front back that breakers work, because we've had ones that were completely like corroded apart and we were wasting energy because it kept sparking and stuff like that, and we didn't know about it, never popped the breaker. So we know that it's from this way. Plus we had a power surge. Okay, I mean there is some wasps in there, but so far that looks like it's on. It didn't pop a breaker there. Right? So let's move on to the next one. It's starting to get closer to the spot that we're hoping it's not.
It's a lot of water down here.
It's because all the water from up there drains down here. We had to just turn this whole thing down here into a big old lake.
Yep, it is the weekend again, and it is wet, so why wouldn't the well be messing with us?
And we're not exactly ready for, I didn't have a chance to fill any buckets. Look at those weird mushrooms.
That is so true. We have not replenished our supply for water either, you guys, so this is bad news.
Okay. I just heard it click. Look, it's filling up. I tapped that box. That's not a good sign. I tapped the box like this. And now you can hear, look, it's building up pressure right now. So it turns out, guys, that with as many times as my well has been down and I've been able to replenish the faulty parts, get all of that experience, I have now found myself in a position of master wellhouser. I fixed that with the tap of a finger.
Yeah, well, it's broken again.
Huh?
It's shut off.
It's filled up.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure. Let's go over here and find out. I'm going to shut this just in case. That does tell me that we need to take a look at something. I'm wondering if maybe condensation might have something to do with something that's going on right there right now. I'm also going to come over here and just look down in this well and make sure we're not losing all of our water like we did the one time, remember? It blew that gasket out and it was just pouring back in and wasn't filling our well. Although I just tapped that main control box, it's called a control box for a well, and it switches the well on and off. I tapped the door of that and it instantly started filling our well. I would hear it. I would hear the water spraying like last time. Let's go turn the water on and see. Unfortunately, I won't be able to tell from down here because I shut the water off to down here. So let's go adventure. You want to just cut across and take our trail? It could be growed up with weeds.
That's all right.
Dogs, come on.
Come on. Our trail is starting to get a little bit overgrown, but so far it's holding up, which is nice.
Yeah, we did spend a little bit of time tracking back and forth with as many well problems as we had. Beat this trail down in the fall and in the winter. So everything now that wants to grow is trying to grow back up.
I think the deer might even be using it.
Oh, that wouldn't be a surprise. But you'll see deer tracks. See like that right there? That might be. Water's going down the hill right now. Man! Well, I wonder what that is. There's a lot of humidity in the air. It could very well just be that. We'll check later, but I don't even want to check now until I get all of my water needs handled, guys, before we mess around. That comes from experience right there, baby.
So I usually try to stay on top of getting the buckets filled up because we've had so many times where the well will do something, break, give us a problem, whatever it is, and we're just not ready with the water reserves. Right now we are living off of 5 gallon buckets of water that we fill up here in the camper and take into the house. So we got a few buckets we need to get filled up.
We have big dreams, guys, of one day on our next big project will be our septic. Septic will allow us to bring the water into the house because we can then devise a plan on which way to run the water line and everything. We don't want to do that now just in case something changed. But as long as nothing has changed, all we're trying to do now is work out the logistics of that. It's going to be a very big project. It's going to be a very expensive project. So we're trying to wrap our minds around it and work it out, guys. So that's where we're at. But when that happens, no more camper water, baby. I'm going to be like you. And I'm going to turn the faucet on and water's going to come out until the well's broken again.
So part of being prepared for us on the homestead is our water. This is a necessity for us. We use, I'd say we probably go through 5 gallons a day. If even, sometimes we don't.
Minimum in the house.
Yeah.
We got 2 water filters and a hand wash station, and we water the dogs, and then the rest we do from in here.
Our coffee mostly takes 5 gallons. Our hand wash station, because I have a hand wash station in the house that we switch out every day, and
we just want to live like normal people eventually. Well, whatever normal means. I'm going to tell you something. That sun just came out and kicked that humidity up something fierce, man.
yeah.
I'm just wondering how many people experience this. When we was in Colorado, we didn't experience this. Humidity was only when you went to the spa.
Well, at least I like the humidity a lot more than the dry Colorado weather, just because I feel like I can breathe better with the humidity as opposed to the dry weather. Like,
Yeah.
it's heavy and hot.
I can see that. This air is heavy too. It's like breathing a glass of water.
Feels good.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but I can see the allure, right? Because dry is not awesome either. The reason I liked dry so much was it didn't matter how wet you got it; it would be dry in 20 minutes. Mother Nature dried it. You know
That
what I mean?
is one thing about the humidity. You do
Everything-
not dry off.
Everything was preserved in Colorado because it would mummify, it would dry out, preserve it, everything like a piece of jerky. You know what I'm saying?
Including you if you stood out there too long.
Too long. I will just tell you, I'm not going to try to be gross in any fashion, but like a roadkill. We'll use roadkill as the example. Here, you can have a roadkill, and within a very short amount of time, you will notice that that roadkill is gone. In Colorado, you can keep driving past that sucker for a long time, man. And then after like 100 years, it still looks like something that you might consider petting.
Let's get in the house. All right, you guys, so we're going to wrap this one up for now. So if you're enjoying our content, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up.
Bam.
Ring that notification bell.
Heck yeah, guys. When you do that, they're going to notify you when our content is available for viewing. And that helps a lot, guys, because when you watch it, when we post it, YouTube says, these people dig these guys.
Be sure to share our videos.
Man, that's the next step. When you share our video, you help extend our reach. And it makes it possible for us to do this again tomorrow.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Right now's a perfect time, guys. You're starting to learn a little bit more about us. Things might start making more sense. Don't be the one that missed out on the important topic. Yeah? And subscribe, because we in this together.
All right, you guys, we love and appreciate you.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.